Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another Burlingame. It's a small town podcast sponsored by the Burlingame Historical Society. This is Mark Lucchese, also known as Mark at the Mic, and my guest today, Todd Lindstrom, has been crowned the Biking Pied Piper of Burlingame. Todd is a longtime Burlingame resident. He is a product of the Burlingame school system, having attended Village Preschool, Washington Elementary, Burlingame Intermediate School, and Burlingame High School. He and his wife, Kathy, recently celebrated their 19th wedding anniversary on Tuesday, September 23rd. They have 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl, spread throughout the Burlingame schools attending Washington, Burlingame Intermediate, and Burlingame High School. Talk about the apple not falling far from the tree. Todd is also the 4th generation of the Lindstrom Plumbing Company, established in 1939. Some of Todd's lifelong passions have been music, biking, and swimming. In today's episode, we're going to find out why Todd has been crowned the Biking Pied Piper of Burlingame. And now my conversation with Todd Lindstrom. Todd Lindstrom, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here, Mark. Thank you for having me.
We're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
We're going to let everybody know why you're the Pied Piper of Burlingame, but we're going to do that a little bit later in the show, okay?
Sounds good.
Happy anniversary, by the way. That was yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you. My wife and I are just celebrated our 19th anniversary.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I have a little fun fact, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You met your wife on a bike ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles?
That's right. We met on the California AIDS ride back in 2002. It's a organization that is raising funds to research AIDS. And I had planned on doing the ride the year before I met my wife in 2001 with a friend of mine. And as we were training that winter, he got injured. And for whatever reason, I fell out of wanting to do the ride on my own, probably. Mm-hmm. And maybe we made an agreement to do it again the next year or not. But I decided that I was going to follow through with it. And so started training and signed up for the ride the next year and met Kathy in Paso Robles. I think it was probably day 2 of the ride.
Wow, wait a minute. Day 2? I would think to myself day 3 or day 4. You got how many miles did you guys travel a day?
It was close to 100 miles a day.
Yeah.
500 miles, and we did it in 5 days.
And landing in Los Angeles proper or what?
Yeah.
Downtown or something?
It actually concluded at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, fantastic. Out in Pasadena.
Out in Pasadena.
Good for you. Okay, let's get back to meeting Kathy in Paso Robles for a minute.
Sure.
So was that at the end of the day and you look over and there's this young lady and you kind of go, oh, she looks interesting. I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. At the end of the day, we would pull into, and that day it was at the Paso Robles Fairgrounds. Mm-hmm. And collect all of our gear was being sagged in vans. And so we had to meet our designated van to get our gear, which included, I want to say they provided the tents. And it was just our suitcases, backpacks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Get the tent, set it up. And I was paired with somebody that I didn't know, another gentleman who was also on the ride. And so we'd set up our tents, and they had trailers with showers, took a shower, and then went to the tent where they were serving dinner.
Yeah.
And happened to sit down at the same table that she was sitting at, and probably sitting across from her with a group of maybe 15 other riders. And I think I was with some of the riders that I had met that day.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the conversation went, but we connected at some point. And then the next morning, waking up early and walking to the shower trailer, I ran into her as she was also, in her bathrobe or whatever, going to take a shower. We were the only 2 people crossing the field at the time, and said hello and ended up meeting on the bike ride that day as we departed Paso Robles and rode with each other, I think the better part of that day.
Yeah.
And I think that night we might have been at Pismo Beach and asked her out on a date that night. There was a bus going from it was an old abandoned airport in Pismo Beach that we were setting up at, and rather than having dinner with the group there was an option to get on a bus and go into town, and had dinner at Scotty's Bar and Grill.
How cool is that,
in
man?
Pismo Beach, and watched the Lakers in the championship basketball.
Wow.
I forget who they were playing in that series, but I remember there was a Laker game, and I think it was, at that point, maybe the championship series.
Yeah. Was she a sports girl too? I mean, she must have been if she's biking.
She
Sounds
grew up
like
in
an
Los
athletic.
Angeles, and her father was a huge Dodgers fan.
Okay.
He was a big-time gardener and had a little transistor radio that he kept in the garden with him and religiously listened to Dodgers games. And her mom is a huge Lakers fan, huge Kobe Bryant fan,
Wow.
Shaquille O'Neal fan.
Yeah.
And of course the Showtime Lakers back in the day.
They
I
were
can
the
only
best.
imagine what it was like being in LA
They were the
for
best.
that. Yeah.
Pat
Yeah.
Riley with the slick back hair.
We really don't have to imagine. We've got the Warriors
Yeah.
kind of, finally representing modern day Showtime.
But the Lakers at the Fabulous Forum with Pat Riley in those great suits and his slick back hair.
And all the celebrities.
It was Hollywood all the way.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great. So how long did it take for you guys to, get acquainted and finally get married? I mean, was there you went out for 2 years or something?
Yeah. So that was 2002, and she was going to be moving to Northampton, Massachusetts for grad school at UMass in the fall.
Yeah.
And so we really spent the summer. We were both living in San Francisco, and spent the summer dating before she drove cross country. I ended up driving to Denver with her, and then her sister flew into Denver and drove the second half to Massachusetts.
But you guys were able to continue a long distance relationship.
For 2 years.
Wonderful. Yeah. Then she came back to California.
She
obviously.
moved back to San Francisco after grad school, and actually moved in with me, and the rest is history.
One
I guess.
thing led to another. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's a good story. How many people are on that bike ride, by the way? You have any kind of number?
I would venture to say there were maybe 1,000 to 2,000 cyclists.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it was a huge group.
Yeah. Sometime off mic, you're going to tell me a little bit about that ride. I think I've always thought anyway, it's a tremendous ride.
The ride, I remember on the first day, just quickly, we came down El Camino, and I think it's an Episcopal school across the street on the corner of Chapin and El Camino.
Yeah, Episcopal Church, and
St.
it's sort of
Paul?
a nursery school. St. Paul's, right?
There was an impromptu that they put on the ride every day. There were you got a map where they were going to have refreshments along the way, and I remember the first stop was at that church in the parking lot, and they had there was a group of people that were valeting our bikes as we were coming down, and
great.
they had snacks and drinks, and it wasn't a official sanctioned stop on the ride. It was just something that they knew to do.
Some folks just got together and said, we're going to take care of these guys
Yeah.
coming through.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's community. That's Burlingame community.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, like I said, we're going to do the Pied Piper thing in a few minutes. But before we do that, you're a homegrown boy.
Sure.
You were born at Mills Hospital. Like I said in the beginning, you went to Village Preschool, Washington, BIS, BHS. What neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up in Lion Hogue.
Lion Hogue, yeah.
Right. I want to say that on Vernon Way, that dead ends into Washington Park. Vernon Way and Concord Way might be known as Burlingame Gables.
Burlingame Gables, yeah, right.
And where I am now, right around the corner, I don't know that is still Burlingame. I think it's just those two.
Yeah, I'd have to get out a city map and see how they broke that up.
Raziel
Right.
Unger would,
Yeah, he's our guide.
yeah, he'll clear that up for us.
Yes.
But yes, that's where I live.
pretty
now,
much grew up in that neighborhood.
around the corner. Yeah.
So you went to BIS, I mean Washington, obviously, BIS and BHS. Can you share a couple of memories from those times at those schools, at those particular schools?
Sure. Washington Elementary School for me was, looking back on that, could not have been any more idyllic than what it was. And I feel like that same vibe exists. Both my parents were pretty involved. My mom was very involved in the PTA. She was the PTA president.
That would be Nancy.
And back then, and I don't know that they still do this, but during those PTA meetings, I would go and I must have been in 4th or 5th grade when she was president, but my task was to go and watch over the younger kids that were there with their moms. And so back then as well, the library was in what's now the NPR,
Okay.
and downstairs,
The multi-purpose room. Got it, right.
downstairs was the cafeteria, and the PTA meetings were in the library, and so that downstairs in the cafeteria, which was also where the PE class was held.
Yeah.
That's where I was kind of watching the kids for an hour or whatever it was, and we just played dodgeball and I forget what, soccer probably,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a great memory. And as well, at that time at Washington, the school had a radio station that was run by the student body called KCAT.
No kidding.
Yeah, CAT as for Wildcat,
Right.
Washington Wildcats.
Like an in-school radio station?
In school.
That is so cool.
And there was a room much like this,
Right.
what we have, and I'm sure we had headphones and microphones, and there was, I forget what the titles were, but DJs. And in the mornings, right after the bell rang, there was, I don't know if it was every morning or not, but quite a few mornings out of the week, there was sort of a debriefing maybe, or information about events that are coming up.
And that would be broadcast by the kids,
students.
by the students over that's so cool.
And then I think there were quizzes that the classrooms got, and the kids that answered the questions right, there was a kind of like a treasure chest, and the kids that were running the show would then run out to those classrooms to hand out prizes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Fun.
Those were amazing times.
What about BIS and Burlingame High?
Sure. BIS for me was those were a difficult 3 years.
You go over as a 6th grader, don't you?
Yeah.
And they kind of sequester you a little bit as a 6th grader. You're not really mixed in with the mass population of the 7th and 8th grade, or what?
Back then, so I do know because my oldest is at BHS and my middle is at BIS, that they do offset the lunch and recess, and the 6th and 7th and 8th graders don't mingle as much. But back then it was smaller.
So it was a little bit more of a free for all.
And it was fantastic. But I definitely had some anxiety issues stemming from probably self-confidence stuff, puberty related stuff, and my 6th grade teacher, Miss Reed, I remember as someone who she picked up on it quickly, and I remember my parents were aware of it, and they established communication within the three of them, and essentially she helped me get through all of that.
Great.
And I just look back and think how how many kids was she helping?
How many did she touch along the way?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a great memory.
Man, one of the other memories that stands out for me is in PE. The Mr. Hansen and Miss Strand were the PE teachers, boys and girls PE teachers. And one day we were all up on, I think, what is now Osberg Field.
Yeah.
Probably playing flag football or something, but everybody was up there. It was the middle of PE class, and Coach Hansen had sent myself and a friend to go find Miss Strand, and she was in the girls' locker room. And we were like, well, we can't
What do we
go
do
find
now?
her, right? He said, no, just go in. Her office is right there. And I will never forget this. Just as I wasn't the one to open up the door into the girls' locker room, but my friend was. And just as he was opening it, it flew open, and it was Miss Strand, knocked him out, and started, to yell at us for, attempting
Right.
to go into the girls' locker room.
Yeah.
And I think we ended up being sent to see, Mr. Osberg or Mr. Welch, right?
Yeah.
We got in trouble before we could explain to her what was going on. And it just kind of, dominoed into this, having
Sure.
to, talk our way, explain everything after the fact. Stuff like that seemed to happen at BIS.
You named three. I didn't go to BIS. I went to St. Catherine's, but all my friends a lot of them went to Washington and BIS. And just as a sidebar here, you mentioned three names that are very well known in the Burlingame education system from years ago: Mr. Welch, Mr. Hansen, and Mr. Osberg.
That's right.
I think Mr. Osberg was loved so much that they named the field after him after he passed away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew them personally, but my friends would often talk about them. Sometimes complimentary, sometimes they were rough on him, but overall they were all respected.
I think that Mr. Osberg and Mr. Welch could not have been a better team.
Yeah.
They were great. They called everybody out on their on their stuff that they
Right.
needed to be called out on, and it was so small. The school felt so small that even though I didn't know the 7th and 8th graders, I knew their names, most of them. You kind of learned who everyone was.
You know who's who.
Yeah.
Right.
And they really, I think that those two and the staff, all of everybody there at BIS, they kept it to be a very comfortable community there.
Tell me a little bit about Burlingame High. Some of your memories of of Burlingame High School.
Sure. Burlingame High School. I was on the golf team. That was a great time. That was the only sport that I played. I had been playing basketball.
Who was your coach? Who was your? I don't remember.
I can't remember
Okay,
his
that's all right.
name. We had so much freedom being on the golf team.
Yeah.
6-period athletics year round.
Where would you guys play?
We practice at Muni at
Right up
Cuddy
here at San
Point,
Mateo.
and as well up at Crystal Springs. We'd go up there to the driving range.
Great.
And as well try and sneak on to the golf course.
Yeah.
And play the back nine, which was right behind the driving range
At Crystal.
at Crystal Springs. And then our matches were at I can't believe I can't think of the name of it right now, in Millbrae.
Green Hills.
Green Hills, sorry.
Yeah.
And I was not the best player on the team.
It's all right. You enjoyed it?
Far from it,
Yeah.
but I have so many great memories
Yeah.
of being out there playing.
Your dad was a varsity basketball player, Don Lindstrom.
Yeah,
at
there's
Burlingame.
stories of him making all MPL
Yeah,
on
I know.
defense.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to save this till later, but your dad graduated 1966 from Burlingame. I was 1966 from Sarah, but we were from the same neighborhood.
Right.
And I got to plug Victoria Park right now because they have done a magnificent job at Victoria Park, right over there on Victoria and Howard. And
I've seen it.
It came out so great. But we spent many hours playing hoops, football, or baseball, whatever was the season, the sport of the season. We were playing, and your dad was a big part of that. And,
That's right.
I'm even going to throw in this one. Your dad took us up as we got older. He took us up to the cabin in Pinecrest, a bunch of the guys, right? We just had a blast up there. And he would come and visit me at Molly Stone's over the years. And then you took his place doing that. And but your dad and mom, Nancy, were tremendous people. Real great people.
Thank you.
Yeah,
They were.
I had to get that in, man, because it's so important for me growing up, with Mike Shembry and Joe
Sure.
Shembry and the Goulart brothers and all of the guys that lived in Lion Hogue. And anyway, this is not about me. This is about you. So how about how about your buddies? You have any buddies that you're still friends with, or have everybody moved away, or what?
My close friends from Burlingame High School, and one friend that I met while we were at Burlingame Intermediate School and went to University of Oregon together. He finished. I dropped out.
Right.
We lived in San Francisco together for a few years after college. He moved away to New York and recently moved back to Petaluma. Him and I have been best of friends the whole time.
Not great.
Another, few friends from high school that one that still lives in Woodside. Him and I are great friends. Him and I swim together quite a bit.
Where are you swimming? Right there at Burlingame?
At Burlingame.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives up on Skyline Boulevard. And so his home pool is CSM. And so I'll meet him at CSM just so that he's not driving another 15 minutes
That's nice. That's great.
to meet me at my home pool.
Did you swim at Burlingame High when you were in high school? Just golf?
I did
only?
not. I would not have wanted to have been caught dead wearing a Speedo in high school.
That's a good memory. Okay. Was Burlingame High an open campus at lunchtime, or was it closed when you were there?
Closed. But I do know that it was open for
a while.
years.
It was, yeah,
before
right.
my time.
Right. Do you have any memories of going to Burlingame Avenue? Where did you guys hang out? In your time.
Sure. Let's see. So I don't mean to.
No. I had like my house might have been a hangout, or Mike Shembry's house down the street might have been a hangout.
Yeah.
But then we went to different places, but mostly we hung out at Victoria Park, like I said. Any places like that for you guys? Did you go to the Avenue much?
So by high school, after school, I was playing golf.
Yeah.
Almost every day.
Right.
But what we were doing, my friends, and it seems to be a pattern throughout my life, my good friends in high school, we all got into music. And if we were doing something on the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, we were going up to San Francisco to go
to the great concerts
to find
up there.
live music.
Right.
And so that's looking back as well. We would spend our time playing tennis at Washington Park on Friday nights. We weren't the ones going out to parties. We spent a lot of time playing under the lights at Washington Park tennis until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Because
you could just keep feeding the meter for the lights.
We'd go to the donut shop and get a couple donuts, take a break, and then come back and keep playing. And then we'd also hang out at our houses and watch movies and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Sam's Sandwiches?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of
That's
course.
my good buddy Reno Betty.
Yeah.
Right.
Reno in June.
Yeah, absolutely. She passed away, unfortunately. And Reno's back up here. He was living down south, but he's back up here now.
Yeah. I remember when they were next door to Cheese Please.
Yeah.
And then moved over to the Greyhound station. And their son was working with them. And
that would be DJ.
DJ.
Yeah.
He was good friends with a kid that was working at Lindstrom Company.
No kidding.
At the time. And so we were always over there getting sandwiches whenever we could. And
all right, let's segue into Lindstrom Company, all right?
Sure.
1939 it was founded?
My great-grandfather in 39.
Tell me a little bit about the history. Has it always been at the same location, and that would be 1121 Bayswater? Or
no, it moved around a number of times in the first 10, 20 years. And forgive me because I don't know that history as well as I should. But
it's okay.
But I do know that they were on California Drive, just south of Broadway, in a warehouse there for a little bit. They were before, I believe, Hilltop Market in San Mateo on California Drive was Hilltop Market.
Right.
They were there. And then I know as well for a little while they had a showroom they besides running the service shop, they had opened up a showroom on Burlingame Avenue, and I should try to find out exactly where.
That's
My
real
uncle
interesting. Didn't know
might
that.
know this. They sold plumbing fixtures out of a showroom on Burlingame Avenue, and I think that didn't work out. I think it was short-lived.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in early 1950s, they moved into 1121 Bayswater.
Right.
There, what is now Kiki's was once Nini's. Wally and Nini Schwartz started Nini's.
Yeah.
And their
Then
son Rick
came along.
took it over, and then his son and daughter ran it until they closed. But we were neighbors to them.
Next door.
Took up that last block of Bayswater together for my whole lifetime until only a few years ago. But before it was Nini's, my understanding is it was a local neighborhood market.
It was my best friend, Mike Shembry, his aunt and uncle. Shorty. They called him Shorty because he was short. And for the life of me, I can't remember her name right now, but they ran it. It was a great little store. It was like Fred's Market, McAllister. It was like those little mom and pops.
Right.
Anyway,
that's
before your time.
My
Todd.
Memory of
great
hearing about
times.
it.
Yeah, that's what it was for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And now Jacob and Murata and his sister Sarah Murata have bought the building, and they're having little tea parties or tea things in the back.
That's right.
I think they're having some issues with the inside of it, as far as remodeling and ADA requirements and things like that.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I can only imagine. It's right. So
I remember for years, Rick had to deal with parking and there were
parking is brutal there.
Number of things that probably should have closed him down, but because he had been there for so long,
they just go with it, right?
They went with it.
If you wanted to make any upgrades, he had to bring everything up to code.
That's right.
Yeah, and so anyway, how long have you been with sort of involved in the company now?
Sure. Well, I think I officially got on the payroll when I was maybe 11 or 12 years old.
Right.
and worked for the company after school and during the summers throughout high school.
Yeah.
And then in 1997, I started full-time in September of 97 and have been running things for about 20 years now.
Yeah. When did your dad pass?
2017.
Right. Boy. And your mom, she kind of went early, right? She was
2008.
How old was she?
She was 60 years old.
Yeah.
And then my father passed away 10 years after that, about 10 years.
I'll end this part of it by just saying they were great people.
Yeah.
Great memories. Your mom was very involved with the rec center, too, which is now the community center. But she was a volunteer.
She was a member of the Parks and Rec Commission for years.
Right.
And I think that even before that, she worked at Woodlake as well, at the apartments.
Really?
I think right after college, she went to San Jose State.
Yeah.
And right after college, started work at Woodlake as part of the group that provided classes, probably
workout classes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. She kind of ran.
They had
that.
a pretty good gym.
Got it.
Back then. Now it's still a wonderful place.
And I think she played a lot of tennis. There was maybe a tennis team there, and so and then she got involved with the rec center.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we move to? And that was great going over some of that family history. Thank you.
Sure.
Todd. Great memories of your dad. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, why don't we talk about the reason why I brought you here today, to talk about this bike parade that you have initiated, and it seems to be doing very well. What inspired you to create this amazing Friday family bike ride parade, right?
Sure.
That leads from Chatham Avenue? Is it?
Right behind Peninsula Tennis Club, PTC, at the corner of Plymouth and Chatham.
Yep.
There's a dogleg turn there, and so there's always, I don't know specifically why I chose that spot, except that I wanted to go, around the perimeter of the neighborhood.
Right.
Right. Covers much territory,
Yeah.
and that seemed like a good corner of the neighborhood to start at. But also in the morning, there's plenty of open parking there, and so there's a place for all of us to sort of corral as we meet up and not totally be taking over the street. You should meet us one of these Fridays at the beginning of the ride.
I'll do the
and
complete
experience.
ride. Yeah, I picked you guys up over on
it.
Bayswater and Bancroft, and it's just a thrill.
Yeah.
My grandkids were with us for 7 months this year, and they were just thrilled. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, okay? What fired this whole thing up? How did you come up with this idea?
So a couple years ago, and it was sort of after everything opened up after COVID, kids going back to school. I during COVID, I signed up for Instagram. And the only reason that I signed up for Instagram was because my son, who was in kindergarten at the time, had Jane Stevenson as his teacher. And on Teacher Appreciation Day, as everybody was at home, studying by Zoom, we went on a bike ride, and I simply filmed us pedaling across the front of Washington Elementary School, and with him sitting on the back of my bike and saying something like, "Hi, Miss Stevenson. I miss you. I love you. Thank you." Something like that, right? And so I posted that on Instagram for her to see.
Right.
That's the only post that I've ever had on Instagram.
But that's great.
But that somehow got me in an algorithm where everything bike related started to flood my feed. And one of the earliest things that I remember seeing that really, touched me and, probably, brought some tears was seeing a fellow starting to post videos of a bike bus in Portland.
You call it a bike bus.
Yes.
I'm calling it a bike parade.
Yeah.
From here on out, we're going to call it the bike bus.
Well, so officially bike bus.
Yeah.
And so for a few months, it was something that I would want to pull up on my Instagram feed and watch.
Right.
Because he was posting, every Friday's ride.
Yeah.
And learned who he was, and that he was starting a organization called Bike Bus World, and started to, with this organization, post ways to how to start a bike bus. And for about a year within our household, between myself and my kids that were at Washington, both of them were at Washington at the time, we were devising, how to start the Washington Elementary School bike bus. And my daughter, who's in third grade now, was probably the biggest cheerleader to get it started.
Great.
Convinced me, and so I had, I'll plug the Washington Elementary School Dads Club. I had reached out to them. This was, 2023, I guess. Mm-hmm. Somewhere towards the end of the school year, I had reached out to them to explain to them what I was, thinking about doing, and could they be, a source way to spread the word. And it didn't. I wanted to do it at the end of that school year to start 23? It. Yeah. Uh-huh. And didn't get around to it. Regretted it. Spent the summer regretting it. And basically the first Friday of that school year in the fall, with my daughter in second grade and my son in fifth grade, and one other family, we did the first bike bus ride. I don't know that there was more than, 3 or 4 kids on that ride. Right. But it was official at that point. And then over the course of the year, it took quite a few months for the word to spread and
to
people
grow.
To see us and kind of figure out what was going on.
So it's been a couple of years now? Are you in year 2?
This is year 2.
Right.
But it was that that fellow in
Yeah.
Portland posting on Instagram
That gave you that incentive.
And
it took a while for it to catch on.
Sure.
But right now, I'd have to say it's pretty much in full force, huh? I mean,
It was amazing. The first Friday of the school year this year was maybe the biggest group.
Yep.
Even last year, towards the end of the year, it was growing and got to a point where there must have been between kids and parents 100 cyclists.
Easy.
Right?
I think one of the coolest things, though, is when the kids are waiting for the bike bus to come down Bancroft, and
Absolutely.
they can see you at Burlingame Avenue turning the corner, and they'll
start
all
to
go,
hear us.
"Here they come!"
Yeah.
Right, and the first few times, okay, it was good, but now it's like almost a full block of them coming at you, right?
Yep.
But one of the coolest things about it. Here I go again talking, but one of the coolest things about it is the parents are walking, the parents are jogging, the parents are on bikes, the parents are on scooters, the parents are on skateboards, right? They're just, everybody's doing something, and it just keeps coming like a wave at you.
Yep.
And then you pull up right at our corner of Bayswater and Bancroft, and we always say hi and that stuff, and then everybody else collects, and you make the turn, and you head up Bayswater. Did you have a police escort for a while, or were they involved for a bit?
So I will plug Marla Silversmith here. And
she's our
superintendent.
Superintendent, right.
And before I started this, I reached out to her and I believe Principal Harmio at Washington to let them know what was going on. And she was really instrumental right out of the gate of bringing Burlingame PD into the mix, so that they knew that that I was going to be riding on the street with these kids, that they knew the route that we were taking every Friday, the timing of it all. And a few times last year, they provided police escorts in the front and in the back.
I remember the motorcycle policeman at the front. Yeah.
Yes, and that was really instrumental in the beginning of this, after we kind of grew to a certain size, and the neighborhood. And I also have to plug everybody that lives on Bayswater and Bancroft and Burlingame Avenue, the streets that we ride down, where we take over these streets and slow traffic down to a crawl.
Yeah.
How patient
Everybody's patient.
Has become, and at the beginning of this, with the police department leading the escort and showing the community that they approve it or stand by what we're doing,
right.
and are showing that helping for these little kids to feel safe and be seen. It's been fantastic.
I think one of the coolest things too is you're coming up Bancroft. We see you, but we hear the boombox. Mm-hmm. You play some great music on that boombox, man.
Yeah,
and that's got to be your love of music.
That's
showing.
That was such a big part of it. And what's really neat is again back to Coach Balto, who kind of brought Bike Bus to the forefront. He started this organization that then partnered up with all these different bicycle companies, cycling companies. One of them being the speakers that I have, Soundbach. If you are a bike bus leader and you sign up with this organization or reach out to them, they then help you get a discount with the company. And so I was able to get the speakers at half the cost.
Great.
There's a company out of Rhode Island called Cleverhood that makes the jackets that we wear.
Wow.
We all have our yellow.
Yes.
Rain jackets
Right.
that are like anoraks almost, and they say Bike Bus on the back and the front. We got those for free. They've and even over the course of the last year, as the group has grown, I've had to ask more parents to help volunteer to keep everybody safe, and so they have, without any question, sent out more jackets to us as we need them.
That's awesome.
And so it's this community that that's out there supporting this across the country and actually worldwide now. It started in Spain, in Barcelona. The first bike bus
Really?
Started in Barcelona as COVID was coming to an end and kids were going back to school. There were parents at an elementary school there that devised this idea of bringing kids, getting them all back together again as a way for them to be together. And that's where Coach Balto got the idea himself to start a bike bus at his school.
What a great thing for the community. Little Charlie Simpson, who lives across the street from me, he was in, I think, first grade when you kicked this thing off, and he was on training wheels, right? Mm-hmm. But when he saw the bike parade go by, it inspired he and his mother to get him off the training wheels, okay?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's off the training wheels and now he's in the parade. Well, my grandsons who'd been living with us, they were on training wheels too. When they saw Charlie getting in the parade, well, you know what happened then. Motivated them to move on from the training wheels, and they joined the parade for the last, they were here till August, right? They went January to August, they were in that most of the time.
Yep.
And it was wonderful.
Yep.
Just a great...
There's a couple really small kids on the bike ride this year who started out just on balance bikes. And, could hardly keep up.
Right.
But we don't leave anybody behind.
No, you don't.
And now she's on a, little bike. She's maybe 3 or 4 years old.
And they look forward to it.
Oh, yeah. I've heard I hear it all the time from parents how some of the kids on the bike bus, that it's something that they get excited about all week long and can't wait for Friday morning.
What a success.
One thing that I started last year after a month or two of being the one curating all the music and mostly, reaching out to my kids to help pick the music, right? Was I started to then get the kids that were showing up regularly to curate the playlists. And so somewhere around November, December of that first year, last year, I went from, being the one curating the music to every week picking a new kid to curate the music.
Isn't that awesome? And
it just brings everybody, kids into being more part of the ride. And of course it releases me of the of the duty.
Thinking, what am I going to play this week?
It really every way that you can bring the kids into contributing to it, then
makes it a real team, a real effort.
Yeah, it just makes it all the better.
Did you have to provide any kind of safety measures for the parents to let them know that they're going to be safe, the kids are going to be safe and sound all right? I know a lot of the parents are wearing their yellow jackets and things like that. Did you have a problem selling the school on that kind of thing, or?
I'm sure within the community that there was a little hesitation. It wasn't voiced to me, beyond if you were uncomfortable or unsure, then then it's your choice not to have your kid ride.
Right.
Totally respect that. But at the beginning of all of our, not every week, but at most weeks, we meet anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes before the ride starts. And every week there's something that comes up during the ride. A kid, one of the kids ran into a parked car a couple weeks ago, bounced right back up and kept riding.
I can see that happening, though. I can't because
there's so many kids, right? And so we talk about...
And you're looking around and you're not, you get distracted.
And so just about before every ride, there's a quick safety talk, expectations, what to look out for, and as well, it includes the parents.
Yeah.
And so at the end of our rides, usually my wife, Kathy, who rides every Friday as well, and some of the other parents that volunteer in the jackets will meet and talk about what happened just for a few minutes, but we'll talk about what happened in the ride. Right. I'm out in front. I can't see.
Of course you can't.
Anything.
Right.
Behind me.
You're relying on the other parents with the jackets.
And so we do have, one of the riders mostly my wife, Kathy, will be the one that's kind of going between the back and the front, delivering any messages that need to be delivered up to the
Right.
front. If we need to stop and wait for somebody that's fallen back and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But it's those kinds of things. There's enough parents riding that they can hop in and help out. There's, a lot of talk about riding in a straight line. The kids want to, kind of
Oh, yeah,
swerve
maneuver.
around and
Right.
have fun, but in a group setting like that, we got to all be riding in a straight
Yeah.
line and, stuff like that.
That's cool. How's the the school accepted it, the administration, the teachers? Did any of the teachers ride in it or anything like that?
There's a teacher that rides with us, a few teachers, but Teacher Lane rides with us. She lives in that neighborhood where we start, and she rides with us every Friday morning. There's another teacher over there that has a daughter who's in first grade this year, who started riding last year.
Great.
Who joins in with us every chance she can. And then there were a number of rides last year where the teachers as a group made an effort to come and ride.
They did
with us.
That's awesome.
And so amazing for the kids to and they set it up so that they would join in along the route. So as we were going down, we're coming along Burlingame Avenue, the kids would see one of their teachers joining in there,
Cool.
and then come around a corner and see another one, and fantastic. And it's been very well received with the school. There's quite a few teachers and kids that now stand out front with the cowbells and cheer us as we come around the front and finish our ride.
I'm sure you're blown away by the growth of it too. I mean, you didn't know what to expect, right? And like you said, it started out kind of small.
Last year there were a few times where it was sort of like an emotional journey for me.
Oh, I bet.
There was one time where we came to a stop sign and I can remember exactly where we were on the ride at Bancroft and Howard, and there was a fellow who I know in Burlingame as being a Burlingame resident who walks a lot, was coming down Howard Avenue, and it was his first time seeing it, and at that time it had grown, and I was feeling very good about what was created and where things were going. And he looked at me and I looked at him, and I kind of fell apart in the moment because I could tell that he was really touched by what he was seeing.
It is a touching moment because it's like, wow. I mean, like I said, when I see him coming down Bancroft and I hear the music, my grandkids would get so excited. It's a real moving moment for everybody.
Yeah.
And
there was also, I also want to tell you, at the end of the year last year, I handed out a sort of MVP Bike Bus Rider Award. It was sort of a first annual award at the end of the year to a kid, Malcolm, who not unfortunately, but his family moved down to Orange County. But he was the first kid to adopt Bike Bus the way that it was in a lot of ways designed, is to, like you said, how you like seeing the kids and families that join in along the ride.
Yeah.
His father he had not learned to ride a bike. And his mom worked, she wasn't around. And so his father would walk him out to the corner of Lexington and Dwight and send him off, and he would ride on his own with the group. And he was the first one is one of the students outside of my own family and the family that started with us.
How cool is that?
To join in. And every Friday, it would be somewhere around, as the group got big, it would be somewhere around maybe the same corner of Bancroft and Howard or Bancroft and Bayswater, but he would pedal up as we waited at the stop sign to be next to me and say good morning to me.
Oh,
and
man.
It was every Friday morning, and I could always count on him at that moment while I was there to pull up and, smile and say hello and good morning and
What a good feeling.
Give me a high five. And so I ended up giving him that award last year.
And he takes that back to Orange County with him.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Has it ever rained on your parade?
It's amazing. There were certainly days last winter where it would rain, but it never rained hard in the morning during bike bus.
So you've never had a rain out?
No. And we're not going to stop because
I think you put that in the
rain.
Paper this year.
It's always been rain or shine.
Yeah, the Washington Bulletin, whatever it is.
And so some families this year are going to have to invest in some rain gear, I imagine. You would think that if it's raining, that kids wouldn't want to be on bikes, but it's the parents.
Yeah.
The kids are all in.
They don't see weather. They don't feel it.
Right.
They don't know it. They just want to ride.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see, you get to the school right about 8:25. The bell rings at 8:30, doesn't it? Something like that. So you get there about 8:25?
Yes.
And everybody circles around. Where do you I've never seen the actual ending. Where do you guys land at?
Right at the crossing guard.
On
Howard and
Arundel?
Arundel.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And so early on with the ride, I gave our crossing guard, Steve, and I want to give you one as well.
Oh, look at this.
While I'm here. At some point last year, I got these green cowbells and the lanyards with West Bike Bus writing on it and handed them out to all the kids. But I gave one to the crossing guard.
So you guys kind of ring these at the end?
For him to ring as the kids were pulling up.
Great.
And originally the idea was that as I was riding along, I would, and kids and families were joining in to alert everybody behind me to make room for the riders joining in, because that's also something that everybody has to figure out.
Right. We don't want any crash landings. Yeah.
I would start ringing the cowbell as a way to greet people that are joining in, but also to alert everybody behind me to to keep a lookout for the kids joining in.
I'm going to put that on the microphone. That's great. Did I see something in the paper or the Washington Bulletin, that you guys are going to have a coffee thing at the end now or something? Are they
the Dad's Club every last Friday of the month? They host a coffee at 8:30, basically for parents, as everybody drops off their kids.
Right.
is just a way to gather and be social for 15, 20 minutes. Good. And I think...
just wondering, have you gotten any kind of feedback or phone calls from the other schools or dad's clubs from the other schools wanting to know how to organize something like this? Is Washington the only one that's doing this in Burlingame right now?
Washington is the only school. Last year there was some interest that it never, got off the ground, but I believe there were one or two parents at Roosevelt that had reached out to maybe Marla Silversmith.
Yeah.
And I think she had reached out to them as well, and gave them my information.
Right, you're the go-to guy to find out.
Answer any questions or help out if they wanted to put one together. But that I know of right now, it hasn't happened, and it's still Washington.
Yeah.
I think we're actually the only school. So the last year when I started this, I also joined the Bike Bus World organization, and what they have is a map of the U.S. and a world map showing what schools have bike bus rides. And last I checked, we were the only school between San Francisco and Santa Cruz
that's a mind blower, man.
For this, it's probably
that blows my mind, because you think a lot of schools would join in just for the camaraderie, the community part.
It's catching on, and I'm sure there are schools that have them, and just haven't signed up with this
Yeah.
organization. But
Well, like you said, though, it's a commitment, and it's planning it out, starting small, growing. We got a few minutes left, and I want to talk about this too. You have a son that now attends Burlingame Intermediate School, right?
yes,
And you sort of wanted to carry this tradition on, didn't
yes,
you?
yeah.
So you initiated another one at BIS. Is that
So
what's going on?
we started. It's really not yet a bike bus. It is right now in the early stages of maybe getting some visibility and people, seeing this, kids, and maybe starting to think, what is this?
Right.
And maybe join in. But spreading the word and doing this for BIS is a lot more challenging.
Well, I would bet, and some of the reasons why I think it's somewhat of the distance, isn't it, from where you're starting at Chatham.
Well, we start in front of Washington Elementary School.
Oh,
for
you
this
do?
one.
Okay.
Yep.
But going all the way to BIS, it's a little bit longer than.
What's funny is our Washington ride. We leave at 8:05 and pull up to Washington at 8:25.
Yeah.
We leave Washington for BIS at 8 a.m. and pull up there by 8:25.
No kidding.
It's actually as quick, if not quicker, than the bus that the kids.
That's amazing.
Because traffic is so awful crossing Burlingame at that time of day.
Right.
That.
Where do you cross El Camino? You do have to cross El Camino,
Sure,
right?
Sure. We ride right up Howard Avenue and turn on Primrose, come right by the library here, City Hall to Floribunda, which you turn left and it ties right into Oak Grove. And
Yes.
then we're on Oak Grove for a couple blocks.
Right.
We turn and go down Paloma, right by the front of McKinley.
Yeah.
And then up Carmelita, which is where we cross El Camino.
And there's a stoplight there.
There's a
There
light
has to-
there.
How do
Yeah.
you get everybody across that light in time?
It's a quick light, and so it takes two lights sometimes, and that is even with our small group that we have for this.
I would imagine so.
And what happens is we're stretched out enough that all get through the light with a couple of the riders, but the other part of the group that's behind won't make it through.
Right.
It'll start to turn red.
Yeah.
And that happens at California. So we just keep riding until we get to a stop sign or somewhere where we can pull safely off to the side and wait for the group to get through the
I
light.
got it. So you'll
and catch
continue.
up.
You will cross El Camino. The other group will stay back, but you'll continue to ride and then meet them down the road a ways.
We ride up to Vancouver
Yeah.
and turn right on Vancouver, which takes us across the front of Roosevelt all the way to Adeline.
Yeah.
And we go down one block of Adeline and turn left onto Bernal, and that takes us into Ray Park, and turn on, I guess it's Ray Drive, I believe, and stay on that until we hit Quisada. When we get to Adeline, it's starting to get a little congested with traffic, and so it slows down a little bit. But all the streets that we're on, once we get onto Oak Grove, they're all marked bike friendly streets. They're all, what I call green streets. And so it's share the road. And there's not a lot of traffic. It's actually, with the size group that we have, which again is small, it's just us Washington kids riding. It's very safe.
So let's see. That would be 6th, 7th, or 8th graders for the BIS ride. Is that correct? For the intermediate?
Yep.
Is it a problem for them leaving the school and coming home?
No. So last week was the last week that I rode up to meet them and ride back, but I let them ride on their own and just trailed far behind them.
Did you give them a course to take or something?
Yes.
Is it the same course in reverse, or is it a little different?
It's a little different. They don't go up to Vancouver. They stay on Bernal, which runs parallel to
El Camino?
Vancouver.
Oh, to Vancouver,
One street
right.
down,
Yeah.
all the way to Carmelita, and then down Carmelita to California Drive, which is where the bike lane, the new bike lane,
yes.
runs on the shoulder.
Right.
You can very safely cross California there at the light and get right into that bike lane. And that ends at Oak Grove. But what we figured out is crossing the train tracks just across the street from the fire station. There's a little pedestrian crossing, which maybe a lot of people don't know about, but it connects California Drive to Carolyn.
Oh, okay.
There's train gates there, little train gates that
right.
drop down for trains going through, but you can cross there and get into the bike lane that's on Carolyn.
How cool is that?
And
Right, the fire department.
Yeah,
the
right
area
across
there?
from the fire.
Yeah, it's over on
department
Edgehill, I think.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
And that turn onto Oak Grove is the only, place where you really gotta watch out.
Yeah,
that goes with
coming
anybody.
off of Carolyn,
Walking there, driving there,
it can get a little goofy.
Biking there,
right.
yeah. So fortunately, the kids that are on bikes at that moment are the ones that grew up in our neighborhood and have gone through that intersection a million times
and
know what to expect.
Yeah. Are you facing the same kind of challenges with growing at intermediate, like you faced maybe at Washington, smaller groups starting out, and it's going to take a while to build it? Is that what you're thinking?
I'm not too optimistic that it's going to catch on at BIS. Right now, where I'm at is it's for the kids. The Washington school kids
Great.
is an alternative to taking the bus, getting in a car with their parents, a different way to get to school and back.
Well, what a great, healthy thing it is, though, right?
Absolutely. I told them the first day that we did it that in my 3 years going through Burlingame Intermediate School, not once did I ride my bike.
No way.
To Burlingame Intermediate. Didn't think about it at the time. So I told them they're infinitely cooler than I ever was already.
Absolutely. No, it's terrific.
On their first Thursday at BIS.
We're getting close to wrapping it up. I just have a question here. If for some reason you couldn't make it, does your wife Kathy take over? I mean, who's your backup?
I took my son to visit University of Texas at Austin last year.
Way to go!
And it's one of the schools that he's interested in.
Yeah.
And so we flew out on a Thursday, I guess, Wednesday or Thursday. And so that was the one Friday that I missed. And so she led that day, but there's 4 or 5 other parents that are in Yellow Jackets that ride every Friday.
Great.
Who are ready to step in and,
because we're not going to let that bike bus stop.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's great. All right, before we wrap it up, any shout outs to family, friends, et cetera?
Oh, sure. To my wife, Kathy, on our 19th anniversary.
Yeah, congratulations again,
Yeah.
right? Wonderful.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, yeah. I hope to meet her this Friday, by the way.
Okay.
I'll be out there looking for you, Todd.
You've seen her.
I see her, but I'm not sure who it is yet, but I will meet her this Friday.
As I've said, it's one of the many highlights of the ride, pulling up to that corner to see you there and helping us out.
Oh, we have fun. I love blocking the traffic.
Absolutely.
I'm somebody for a minute, okay? So, Todd Lindstrom, a Pied Piper of Burlingame, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
It's been great.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Todd Lindstrom, the Pied Piper of Burlingame, for being my guest today on A Burlingame. It's a small town podcast sponsored by the Burlingame Historical Society. Before I close out, Todd had one correction. He wanted to mention that the AIDS ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles ended at the Santa Monica Community College football field and not the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. After all, this was the ride that Todd met his future wife, Kathy, and he wanted to make sure all memories were on the same page. Thanks to my Minister of Podcasts, Mike Nagler, Executive Producer, Shelby Lucchese, Director of Marketing and Social Media, Adrian Lucchese, and original music by Bray. This podcast was written and edited by Mark at the Mic and recorded on September 24th, 2025 at the Burlingame Public Library. The Burlingame Historical Society copyrights this program, and no part can be copied and replayed without the written consent of the Burlingame Historical Society. Be sure to look for my next episode of A Burlingame It's a Small Town podcast, when my guest will be longtime Burlingame resident and a man who has run over 125,000 miles, Alan Stanbridge. So until next time, everyone, see you around Burlingame. It's a small town.